Hi, I'm Hannah, and here are some basic embroidery stitches that you can use whenever you're doing a simple pattern or line work project. I like to use them to create small or large line work pet portraits like this little guy here. So the stitches we're going to go through are a backstitch, a split backstitch, a split stitch, and my favorite, couching. All right, here we go.
Our first stitch we're going to learn is called a backstitch. You're going to bring your needle up at point A and then back to point B to make a stitch. Bring your needle up ahead of your first stitch at point C and down through your first point A to make your next stitch. Repeat this pattern, jumping your needle up and back to make a row or series of stitches, and that is backstitch. Our next stitch is called a split backstitch. So to make a split backstitch, you're going to start as you normally would with a backstitch, making a stitch, and then bringing your needle up ahead of that previous stitch, but this time you're going to come down through that first stitch. So you're splitting your stitches. Bring your needle up ahead of your stitches and down through your previous stitch. A split backstitch ends up looking slightly thicker than a regular backstitch, and it can also look more seamless. This is especially handy when you're going around curves or have irregular areas of your line work embroidery. Next we have what's called a split stitch, which is very similar to a split backstitch, just done in reverse. So you're going to make a stitch, but instead of coming up ahead of your previous stitches, you're going to bring your needle up through your first stitch. So you're splitting a stitch. No going back. You're just coming up through your previous stitches. It's really a matter of preference between split backstitch and split stitch. They look very similar and both make curves look smoother in a line work piece. Last but not least, I'm going to show you couching, which is great for giving stitches like this a small bend or for moving them slightly. So here's a close-up. You're going to make a stitch like you normally would, and then you're going to bring your needle up at the point where you want your bend to happen in your stitch. So at the apex of the bend. Then bring your needle under your previous stitch and down again through that apex point and pull tight. That's it.
All right, there you have it. My favorite embroidery techniques when I'm doing line work portraits. Don't get too hung up on your embroideries being perfect or your stitches being perfect. Just have fun and use these to get a little bit more precision in your lines.